That's all the minutes. 7:03. Great. Put it up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. We're at a quorum. And we're going to start at 7:03 on Monday, July 21st. Welcome, everybody. We have, I always say this, we have yet another action-packed agenda. Lots of things to cover. A couple of changes to the agenda. We will be going into an executive session at the end of this meeting because we've gotten a report from the phase 3 planners and it concerns land acquisition. And so we go into executive session when we have that kind of business to do. But we'll cover plenty of other topics before we get to that point a little bit later on. And for those, someone who knows how absent-minded I am,
You are not.
please remind me that Ray Berger is going to join us for the discussion of the recommendations in the phase 3 plan, and I need to text him and tell him that we are moving into executive session, and please sign on soon. Point. Okay. So with that said about changes to our agenda, actually one other change to our agenda is that we have some guests from Rotary who would like to talk to us about placing a beautiful amenity on our trail. And I'm gonna open up with a little description from them. So that's a change from the agenda. But first, let's just zip around and do introductions. I'll start. I'm on the screen and I chair. Yes. We'll go around the table first and then the outer circle, and then we'll go to the folks who are visiting us on the screen. So I'll pass it to you.
Chris Tasalia, my name is task force member resident at
Diane Patholiheim, task force member, ex-planning board member, resident of Etna and chair of the flight committee.
Thank you.
Rose Borzik, resident of Freedom and secretary of the track task force.
Thank you.
I'm Judy Pierpont. I'm a member of the task force. Technically in the post office range of Freeville, but I live on Mount Pleasant.
Thank you.
Chip Galpine, Village of Freeport.
Thank you.
Susan Ashdown, task force member of Martin.
Sue Funicelli, I'm a task force member and I live in Martin.
11 with the Dryden Rotary and I live in Tompkins County.
Somewhere around.
Up in northeast corner.
I'm Tim Levis, I live here in the village. Well, I guess we're outside of the village, just.
I'm still in the village in this spot right here. That's right. Welcome, Tim. Thank you.
Tony Salerno, live up in the great northeast corner of the town and the county. Here today representing Rotary, but I'm also on the town planning board and department.
Thank you.
Yay.
Terry, I'm Copeland. I'm just down here all the time on the trails and just wanted to see what's going on the local trail.
Great.
It's the place to see.
Okay.
What's your name again?
Terry,
Evans. We'd love to have members of the public join us for these sessions.
I forgot to say I'm also on the County Smart Community Task Force.
Yes. That's a very important task.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
And now we're going to go to folks on the screen. I see Dan Lamb.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Lamb, Deputy Supervisor, Town of Dryden.
And Todd.
Hi, Todd Bittner. I'm a task force member. And congratulations, Town of Dryden, Climate Smart. I saw you guys got silver. It was announced, so congratulations to that. Just one comment, when the Rotary folks are talking, if you could get closer to the microphone on the table, because it's a little hard to hear the people that are on the edges of the room.
Yeah.
Hard to hear in here, hard to hear in here too.
Yeah, the fan is a little,
Really hard to say.
the fan is a little noisy, but if we get really hot,
I
we
can
can
change seats in the Rotary folks can move up.
I'll just step aside when they're gonna talk to us, yeah.
Okay.
Good. Okay, so let's start with this quick conversation about a proposal for a new trail amenity and oh, wait, Marion, I missed. We went all the way around the circle, just as you were finishing as you came in, so would you just introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Marion Glenn. I live in the Freeville ethnic area of the country.
Great,
And I'm interested in reforestation.
great, thank you. Okay, let's turn it over to, oh, wait. Yeah, we'll do this Rotary presentation and then we'll do the approval of the minutes and we'll on to our agenda. So I can just move over
Yep.
here.
Okay, I want to thank Alice for having us in this shortly. I'm Evan Kurtz, past president of the Dryden Rotary Club. Tony Salerno's been president also many times. This past spring at a Rotary District Conference, my wife Tracy won this Peace Bowl drawing. So the Peace Bowl is part of a group called peaceonearth.org, founded by a gentleman in Japan in the 70s. There's close to 250,000 of these around the world. And there's a couple right in our area. I can never quite remember the name. In Turkey Hill, it's a spiritual retreat. Turkey
Light
Hill.
on the Hill.
Light on the
Yes, they have one that's a public one. There's a
No,
couple,
like Foundation of Light.
Foundation of Life, that's.
there's a couple that are private. And you can either have purchased one or you can make your own, but they like people to register them. You can go online and look throughout the whole world and find out where these peace bowls are. This is the smallest and simplest one. And we have been thinking since April of where we want to put it. And the other day we were at the Dryden Creamery, right there on the rail trail, looking at the kiosk, thinking about visibility and getting out there and nice things on the trail. I said, Alice can ask her about what we'd have to do is to see if this might be something the Rail Trail Committee would be in favor of and approving of. Maybe just either side of that kiosk or someplace else, but that was our thought. But I did want to come in and just show you what it looks like. It has it in English, French, or sign language, and Spanish.
Right here, I can't rotate this. Back to the first-
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
There.
so, yeah, they're pretty cool. They come in bigger sizes if you want, them, and they come in hexagons, so you can have 6 sides and other things. But it just says, may peace prevail. Yes.
It also has American Sign.
Yeah. You can request whatever languages you want. We won this, so we didn't have a choice, but it's here. It's something we thought would be amenable for the trail, and I just wanted to let people know about it. And at some point, you can get back to us, tell us what sort of hoops we need to jump through. The Dryden Rotary Club would be more than glad to take care of any cost for installation and any maintenance cost.
Do you have an idea where you'd like to have it on the, oh, you want it next to the,
That was our
the
thought.
kiosk?
We're in the kiosk by the right.
Yeah.
You set up, oh, I on the side of the other side.
I mean, if you guys have other thoughts or desires, we'd certainly consider them. We thought about in Times Square, we thought about a little pocket park by the Dryden Hotel, we thought maybe in Montgomery Park. But there were several of us there this past Thursday and we said, you know, this is very visible. But except for questions, that's really all the time I wanted to take.
What does it take to install it so that it's really, stable?
The
Cement.
simplest thing is just a 4x4 post, 4 foot into the ground. It just
Attach it.
slides right over and we'll run a few bolts through it so somebody doesn't walk off with it, you know. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. I don't know about digging the trail. Alice mentioned we want to stay back to the side, so vehicles can get through. But other than that,
DPW.
So the DPW would decide, where it could go.
Yeah.
According to what you want and what they allow.
Yeah.
And then they could do it or you could do it.
well, you folks can let us know how to proceed. I can meet Rick over there anytime to look at the ground and who wants to dig the hole kind of stuff. But, we thought it would be a nice thing to have in the village.
Dan has a question. Thank you, Dan.
Muted. Can't hear you. You're muted.
I know. It's my first time on Zoom. I wish. I can't see it real well. Is there a QR code or any sort of link
Yes.
on there? Okay. And what is that link to again?
It's the Peace Pole Project at peacepolproject.org.
Okay. All right.
There's actually 2 QR codes, Chris.
I think they're
One of
both the same.
the same.
Well, the other one might be Rotary. So just another thing, our Rotary district is basically all of, it's 22 counties, Albany, Syracuse, and Binghamton area.
Oh.
And there's a gentleman up in Utica who was proposed and the district is supportive of it. He's going to try to make a Peace Pole Trail across New York State and east to west and north to south. I believe there's one in Hartford already, so.
Well, there's 2 QR codes on here. One here and one over here. They do go to different sites, but this one goes to Rotary Peace Poles, which are specifically peace poles that Rotary clubs around the world have done. This one goes to the Peace Pole Project, the worldwide Peace Pole Project, which is not, well, I mean, Rotary is involved in a lot of peace pole things, but this is a larger organization right here. So there are lots of peace poles around the world that have been put in that were not put in by Rotary.
Yeah.
So that's the only.
I just think this is a beautiful message to our trail. I'm seeing a lot of nodding heads. Do we need to take a vote to, let's do a formal vote. How many?
I move that we hold a vote on whether to accept the peace pole on the trail.
Do I hear a second? Okay, I'd like to move that we accept.
She just did, didn't
She
she?
just did.
I thought you were moving that we hold the vote.
Yeah.
Oh,
I moved that we place it on the trail.
there you have a second. Okay, thank you. All in favor of placing the peace pole on our trail? Yes. Thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you.
So
Good.
we would need to know who to be in touch with the DPW and all that.
Yeah, so that's how I was going to chime in on that. So I can talk with Rick. It would be helpful if you could take a picture and send me a GPS point on like Google on Google Maps, and then I can run that by Rick and see if there's any issues. He definitely is going to want to make sure it's not in the way for utilities and things like that. So yeah, if you want to share some of that information, then I can be the liaison with DPW to kind of get final approval.
Great.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Also, Todd is.
Placing us.
We just.
That is-
Nice way to start our.
I made you a positive.
Good. Good. All right, let's go back to from the sublime to the ridiculous and talk about our business for tonight. We have, well, let's see. First, let's approve, let's talk about the June minutes. Any changes?
Yes, I was confused about the Mary State Parks did. And if there was unused funds to apply towards resurfacing once you run to Route 15.
We'll talk about that at that item on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real. There are some unused funds, we think.
Yeah.
And Todd can explain the intricate match between the TAP grant and the state parks grants. Yeah. Any other questions or concerns about the minutes for June? Just as always, thank you so much for those. All in favor of approving the minutes, raise your hand. Thank you. Good. All right, let's move on to the report of the project management committee. It was a busy meeting this past week, and so we want to report back to you what we did and learned at that meeting. And Dan, I'm dying to hear if there's anything new on the DOT decision on our Route 13 bids.
Well, I think we have another date scheduled to meet with them. Ray has been the one going back and forth the most, and we don't have a complete decision other than that Ray did meet with the preferred developer, if you don't mind that language, the one that came in the lowest. And we're, sharing what we've learned from Hurd Development with Julie Baldwin and her team, and hoping they take a second look at this and allow us to avoid reopening the bid. But I guess I would defer to Ray if he's had anything newer to say about this. He on Friday, I'm just looking again at his email. He sent a bunch of information to them at noon, and she acknowledged it later on Friday. And so we're gonna wait to see what they say with all that. Perhaps this week.
I missed the something happened on Friday, did you say?
Well, as I mentioned, Ray had met with Hurd Development earlier last week and gathered information to share with New York State DOT, which he forwarded at about noon on Friday. So several files, I'm looking at, 5 different files, and he shared that with DOT, and they replied, "Thank you, we will review." And there hasn't, to my knowledge, been a follow-up as of today. It's just Monday, of course, but I think that's progress, because we feel in our gut, if we just share what the good intent that Hurd Development made at meeting these guidelines, particularly guidelines that changed on May 1st, 7 days before the bids were due, that DOT would take a second look at this and also take into consideration that decisions in another neighboring DOT district allowed this sort of project to go forward in a similar competitive setting. So we're saying, hey, let's not have a double standard. We know, a project out west in New York State got approved, even though they had to amend their bid after the deadline. Let's not make an exception for Dryden. And plus, it's going to create a pain for the town. We've made the case that it'll create a pain for the town. That said, if we have to rebid, I think Hurd will come in with another good bid. It's not going to be the end of the world for us. So let's keep that in mind. It will just, slow up the process if we have to go through another cycle of bidding.
Yeah. So the low bid that you're referring to, Dan, came in within what we budgeted and lower than what we budgeted for that work. So if we are able to accept that low bid, that's really great news for us. And also, as Dan said, it sounds like that low bidder, if we have to rebid the process, is interested in bidding again. And so we do have a lot of hope at the moment that we'll be able to get this bridge built at a price within the budget, and that's exciting.
And we have a lot of interaction with this office. I mean, I had called one of the reviewers earlier in the week about the Freeze Road Bridge and urged her to act quickly on this, and got nothing but cooperation out of Karen Cole, who's another administrator at DOT, a planning program director. So, I think they have Dryden on the mind, and that's my that's my hope. It doesn't hurt that we're in
Dryden and all its bridges.
It doesn't hurt that we're in touch with them for $6 million worth of bridges in Dryden.
Great. Thank you, Dan. the easement amendment for washout repair near Fox Bridge. I put both of us on this, Todd, but since you're with us, do you want to just explain where we're at with that, and I'll chime in as well?
Okay. Well, there's not much development since a month ago. In order to properly repair the trail that's eroding at the washout, we're going to be outside of the 66-foot right-of-way in order to properly build it and repair it and maintain it. So it should be, we think we have 2 landowners that have already given us easements that would be amenable to amending their easements to just add a very small fractional areas for areas that aren't usable on their property. And so Ray and Alice and the town attorney have been working on the updated easement language. And once that's finalized, then reaching out to them to see if they're willing to do that is kind of the game plan.
Yeah, thanks to the town attorney, Dan and I were able to send a joint letter to the 2 property owners who'd be affected, and we were able to include the amended easement right in that letter. So we're hoping that we'll get quick action back, and that we'll still be able to have our DPW guys do work that we want to have done to repair that washout before the snow flies. We're on an extension from New York State Parks and Rec. I'm sorry, from County Parks and Trails on a $5,000 grant to do that work. So we're really hoping that we can complete it within the extension. Any thoughts or questions about that? Okay, let's move on. So on the agenda that I sent out, the next item is phase 3 planning. We did, as folks know, have a kickoff meeting with Erdman Anthony Associates, who are doing the planning alternatives for the last phase for building the trail. And just late last week, they sent a proposed set of alternatives, which we need to introduce in executive session because land acquisition requires that we do that in private. So we'll come back to that item and we get and take executive session. I'll take any general questions.
Do we anticipate any kind of formal voting as a result of the discussion during executive session, in which case we need to let people know that maybe coming out of executive session before the.
Oh, good.
No, so what we wanted to get some feedback here because this meeting was before the project management committee, but we wanted to meet as the project management committee and then come back to the task force if we need to do any official voting at a future meeting. So there won't be any business decisions expected today.
Yeah, thank you for reminding us about the protocol if we do have a vote. Any other general questions about?
So the executive session will start after this? And then
Yes.
that means I leave?
That
or-
means
Okay.
all folks who are not appointed members of the task force.
Invited guests are permitted to stay.
Oh, that's right. We can invite people to stay. Good. Okay. So now we're at the New York State Parks grant reimbursement that you asked about, Susan. And Todd and I both talked about the latest report about claims that have been made against the New York State Parks grant. Amanda sent us some numbers, and Todd was able to look at those numbers and think about the most creative way that we could claim for those numbers. I'll just say by way of overview, Todd, I'll just remind folks that the New York State Parks grant was approved in 2017, and we're still working on it. fulfilling the requirements of it. It's a 50-50 match grant, so we were authorized to spend a total of $365,000 under that grant. Total, and of that, 182,000 comes from New York State, and 182 in round numbers must be spent by the town of Dryden in that 50-50 match. So with that as an overview, I'll turn it over to Todd.
Sure. So, I mean, the match can come in a number of different ways. We did claim some of the match as volunteer time and volunteer contributions that were made, particularly early on. So not all of it has to be that it's expenditures from the town of Dryden. We also use other grants that we've done in the same part of the trail that the state parks grant covers as match. So for example, Triad Foundation provided support for the trestles on the Game Farm Road section, and those that grant is able to be used as match. So it's not all cash. But we've been very interested in identifying if we've met the match requirement, and then how much money remains that we can spend that then state parks will reimburse us for the specific section from Monkey Run Road to Route 13. And we think it's somewhere around $100,000, which is good because we want to use that money as part of the offset of the TAP grant costs for the project. Folks might remember the bridge and the ramps and the trail to the east of 13 are being done by the contractors, and the trail from the west side of the west ramp to Monkey Run Road is being done by DPW. And it's over a mile of trail to be constructed. And so right now it looks like we'll have somewhere around $100,000 that'll be able to go towards materials and equipment time for the DPW that will be paid for by the state parks grant. And then that'll zero out all of our match requirement. It'll zero out how much funds remain, and we can then close the book on that grant, which would be great. And then by doing that, we've lowered the overall cost of what we need to fund for the bridge part of the TAP grant. So that's the kind of the short version. Alice and I have to go over some of the details with Amanda just to make sure that we're correct in our reading of the financial report that she provided us a couple of weeks ago. So that'll probably happen here in the next couple of weeks or so. And then pending that, then we can make some more solid plans for exactly how all that financial arrangement will work.
Does that answer your question?
So I'm just curious then about what will happen between the Great Fox and is that, I'm wondering if the county parks and trails grant or some sort of that's for that.
Right now we're earmarking the $5,000 county trails, parks and trails grant for the repair along the Fox Bridge and the washout. We're hoping that 5,000 will cover that expense. And then you'll recall that the state parks grant allowed us to build from both ends.
Right.
So, and it takes us from Game Farm to all the way to the Route 13 bridge.
Oh, okay.
So am I correct about that?
Yes.
Todd? The state
Yeah.
parks. So interestingly enough, the state parks grant spending can be part of it's state funding, but it can be part of the match for the federal TAP.
I understand that, but it's saying that works, oh, I see, the match works between Monkey Run and the bridge, the west end of the West Bridge. But then we still have that section between Monkey Run and FH Fox Bridge.
Which is separate from this discussion, but is covered by the county parks
Is covered by-
grants.
Okay.
So it's complicated.
It is, yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And is part of the reason why stone dust hasn't been applied or improvements have been made yet to the surface of the bridge or whatever, because we're kind of waiting for the Route 13 bridge to be completed and do all of that at the same time.
Well,
Well, it's also refunded, but refunded.
And right, we're leasing.
it's possible the DPW guys will come in and just do the Fox Bridge. If they have,
They've already done some, because
They did.
That gravel, yeah.
oh, good. They said
Yeah.
they could start on that
Yeah,
sooner.
they pounded on the ground. It still is not great for Mike, but it's much better.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear. I haven't been out on. Good.
But
Yeah, I mean, just scheduling wise, they do it when they have windows of
Right.
opportunity to do work. And so that's just basically Rick making those kinds of decisions. When one part will be worked on, or will it be start to finish, or it's started and then it finished later. So we'll just kind of leave that up to them to work that into what their schedule availability is.
there is money for the whole rest of that,
Yes.
all the way
Yeah.
from Race Fox Bridge
Yeah,
to.
we're thinking 5,000 can cover the both that finishing of the Fox Bridge that's already started and the building to
And
the
the
washout.
stone dust.
and the
Stone
stone
dust
dust.
going all the way to Monkey.
Oh, no, not the stone dust going all the way to Monkey Run. That's gonna
Okay, that's
come
the-
under
the
state
other one.
parks.
Got it.
Yeah.
But the funding is wrong.
It's like nesting, Russian doll.
The thing I understand, this one can do that, it won't then match what we need for the funding was.
Correct, yes, yeah, lots of.
Will I remember it next time we talk about it? Probably not.
You ask
This-
again.
I understand.
Okay. Good.
But the surface will match. Yes, the surface will match.
Yeah.
There won't be a drop off or anything.
So let's move on to the other bridge that we are working on, and that's the one in the NYSEG section. As we reported last month, and you'll see in the minutes, we we submitted an application because the bridge will be built adjacent to a wetland. And the Army Corps of Engineers came back with some added requirements. And Todd has valiantly been out in the field helping us meet some of those requirements. So take it from there, Todd.
Okay, yeah, so that they had additional questions about the proximity of the trail, the bridge, the areas to excavate, the areas to put spoiled materials in relation to the wetland, and the high water mark. And so normally you get that kind of information by hiring an engineering, environmental engineering firm, and they go out and do a wetland delineation, and it can cost several $1,000s or potentially more, depending on how complicated it is. And we thought this was pretty straightforward, so we could communicate what the Corps would want to know to make a decision that there won't be a negative effect to the wetland through providing other information. So it's been a little bit of a drip and drop, as they ask for something and then we give it to them, and then they ask for more and then we give it to them. And so what I heard just earlier today, to what we created and sent to them last week, was that it looks like it's sufficient for now for them to review and hopefully give us a decision. And so we gave them a very high detail topographic map at 2-foot contours, and overlaid the design that Charlie Troutman's class did on that with points that we took in the field to depict photographs that we took in various directions and distances so that essentially they could visualize the entire landscape out there and understand that essentially the area that we're working on is significantly far away from where the wetlands are. And so we're hoping that that will be enough information for them to basically say that we can follow the nationwide permit. Not, there's kind of two things they could do. They could give us permit for this particular project, or they could say, you don't need to be permitted as long as you follow the nationwide permit. And so we hope that we'll hear something back in a couple weeks on a decision. And if they ask for more information, then we'll probably go back out in the field and do that again. So that's kind of where we're at on that one.
Great, thank you, Todd. You and your interns and crew are saving us, the town of Dryden, the cost of hiring an engineer to do that work, and that does not go unrecognized by us. Thank you. I know in the midst of a busy summer, it wasn't your favorite thing to have another assignment added on. It's just great for us to be able to reassure the Army Corps that we'll be respectful of the wetland and we're clear about where it is. And just for folks who are new here, this work is all to receive, to get permission for a group of Cornell students to help us build a bridge that will span a section along the trail east of Pinckney Road that was washed out years ago. So we'll be able to develop the trail further once we get this permit, and we already have these students engaged to do the work with us. And we've applied for a grant from the Triad Foundation to get that work done. And as regulars know, we've had 3 grants from that foundation in the past, so we're hoping. The letter went out to them about a week and a half ago, and generally they reply within a month to let us know if they are willing to fund another project for us, and we have high hopes that with this one we will agree to. Good. Okay. Any questions about the NYSEG section bridge project or the permit? Okay, moving right along. This next item is bulk storage fence encroachment. This fencing encroachment is right next to the NYSEG section east of Pinckney Road. A storage company that's owned by out-of-town owners accidentally built too close to the center line and encroaching on a 33-foot utility easement that the town retained. Last week we got a letter from one of the co-owners saying it was our mistake. We will move it at our own expense. It helps that they're looking to expand their operation for their storage company and must get a site plan approval by the town. And actually, even the new placement that they're proposing is great, allows them greater installation space than the original site plan that was approved. So it does have to go back to the planning board for approval, but the first step is that yes, they're willing to move the fence back at their own expense. And the other good piece of news from them is that they are moving forward with providing an easement for the rail trail. Yeah. I understand that they've been saying that for about 6 years, that they'll move forward. I sent them a brand new copy of the easement request, and hopefully it'll come back signed.
And that was all in writing. That's
all in writing. Every aspect of it is in writing. So, so we're hopeful that the fence will be moved in time for the wetland permit to come in, And then Charlie Troutman and his students to come in and do the work a little farther down, because this will allow the DBW equipment to have more room to navigate. And we'll also save having to chop down a mature, parts of a mature tree line on the other side where we do have an easement, but we don't really want to take out any mature trees if we can help. So all good news so far. Good. All right, so that was many items from the Project Management Committee. Any last questions about that one?
Is it good?
Just one more item.
One more item.
I'm sorry, what
The
more?
fundraising.
Oh, fundraising. Oh my goodness, Dan, this is an important possibility that you just revealed at the end of our project management team. So if you had a chance to do any more research on it, or just tell us what you found, please.
Yeah, there we go. I did talk to some people at the Office of State Controller. They suspected that this was kind of a political move by the former governor, Andrew Cuomo, in response to the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act, which put new ceilings on the property taxes. If you remember, that there was a limit on state and local taxes in that bill, and that was just lifted in the last big ugly bill that was just passed in May. So anyway, Cuomo put this in place. To their knowledge, nobody has actually pursued it because it conflicts with existing state law. So what we're talking about here is there was a provision in there that allows municipalities to create charitable funds and accept gifts for worthwhile causes, but they don't really define what that is. So I'm reading this and, I was just doing a little sleuthing to find a way, because it always struck me as odd that we couldn't accept donations. And so I was looking into this, and it certainly reads in the press release and the announcement from the comptroller's office that municipalities can do this. However, it conflicts with historical norms in terms of municipalities being able to do this. So I have put in messages to additional people at the comptroller's office. They have not returned my call, but I'm not going to give up on this because I think there's a loophole, but there may just be, kind of like a shrug saying, yeah, you could do this, but, it's in conflict with other law, and it might have been done for political reasons. So it's not quite the answer that Alice and I were hoping for when I first discovered this, and I ran it across Amanda, our HR bookkeeper, and she thought, we better ask some more questions, and she agreed. So that's what I did, but I don't know if it's the silver bullet yet. But if it is, by statute, the town can set up this fund, and then we can accept charitable donations. People can make donations to that and, avoid some taxes that way. The idea, here's the cynical thing. So the Cuomo idea was, okay, municipalities will accept donations and then cut property taxes in return, or give them a reduction in their property taxes. So it was a way of the state saying, well, look, I responded to that, but guess what? Municipalities are paying for it, not New York State. So it was a Cuomo move. That wasn't the only one during his couple terms, but anyway, I guess that's a to be continued as soon as I hear further from the comptroller's office.
So
did that make sense?
yeah,
Sorry.
Judy has a question.
Yeah, so the difference is that now we're not allowed to set up a fund to accept gifts and to say there's a procedure, a process, a protocol to do it, but we can do it. I mean, we can accept
gifts.
gifts. It's
Yeah.
just that it's not as,
We can't solicit.
but we would be able to solicit
Right.
in
We
that.
would be able to solicit with this. That's
That's
the
the
key word.
difference. All
That's the
right, got
difference.
it.
Yeah.
So that's what I was running across our lawyer, and he said, wow, I guess I had never seen that before. And he goes, on its face, it does look like you could do this. You better call the comptroller. Yeah, I mean, Tom didn't pick up my call, but some of his staff.
Yeah.
You know, I was able to get so far with it, but it's just kind of a quirk in state law right now that we need to figure out.
Good.
That would answer a lot of our questions. I mean,
Big thing.
It would answer a lot of questions.
Hmm.
Judy, and others, I think, we would not. We don't know yet that we would not want to pursue having, Bike Walk Tompkins and their umbrella, group still help us with, soliciting donations and receiving them online. But this could really help us. If this were the case, we as an organizing group could be more actively involved in putting out a message about why it makes sense to support the trail by making these donations.
if we had our own fund, I mean, if we go with Bike Walk Tompkins, they deserve a certain cut, a percentage cut.
Right.
And if we don't do that and just do it through our own auspices, we wouldn't have to give them any
Pay
money.
additional administrative fees, right? Yeah.
But remember that.
So this could
But
be.
Amanda or somebody would still, or Cassie would still be doing more work,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
But remember that if we can be associated with a nonprofit organization, that opens us up to grants that aren't available to us now. So it still might make
Yeah.
sense to have that
Yeah, that's
relationship
true.
with.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, it still wouldn't put us in the category that, say, REI was looking to donate to.
Right.
We would still we would still not have not-for-profit status, but we could do the solicitations.
Yeah.
So that we won't fall into the category of the other funders as well want to give to that we've come across.
As a task force.
Right, as a task force, right, yeah, but still to be able to collect it and solicit for the town would be great. So you'll just keep us posted when those messages that you put out get answered, right, Dan?
Yeah, and that last word you said, can we solicit? Because that's the wording. And it what the wording that is in the description from the comptroller says, it allows municipalities to incentivize donations. Maybe
Right.
that says, you know, hey, donate, you know, to the Dryden Rail Trail. But, you know, they might take a lawyerly view and by saying, you know, you can only incentivize a donation if you turn around and give a property tax cut and return to the donor of equal proportion. I don't know. I have a feeling they're going to tell me that.
Dan, couldn't you incentivize a donation by saying, if you give us $10, we'll give you this water bottle?
Oh, we're giving something else.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right.
Give us $35, we'll give you this handmade glass.
That's beautiful.
One of a kind, unique.
And if you give us $1 million, you know, we'll let you do whatever you want on this land, you know, and it sounds a little.
Todd has a question.
Yeah.
Well, if it actually is tied to property taxes, we might consider incentivizing a donation of an easement for the trail in exchange for reducing property taxes for particular landowners.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that hadn't occurred to me. That would be very
But
strict.
the ones who held out would be the ones who get the advantage.
Yeah, well.
Right,
Would that be retroactive, Todd? Because we'll have some angry people. I'll do that in my last term.
I'm just thinking about phase 3 and, you know,
Mhm.
whatever tools we have in our toolbox can be quite useful if we have more tools that might solve unique
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, good. To be continued. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Great. Let's move to outreach and communication, Diane.
So I got the welcome and etiquette signs ordered today. I just sent the price quote to Alice and Rose and also Todd. It's going to be $976 for a lot of signs.
It's for the whole trail, right?
Welcome signs, etiquette signs, and stop signs. all
Well, no,
together,
this
900.
didn't include the stop signs.
Oh, that
Uh,
doesn't include.
Welcome and.
Yeah, hold on, let me find my email that I just sent out.
At 8 AM.
No, just. Okay, so we ordered, that would be me, royalty. 18 welcome signs at $16 a sign. 3 sets of the etiquette signs, which 7 different signs, so that's 21 signs. They are now 10 by 8 instead of 10 by 7. In fact, we left it in the car. What's great about 10 by 8 is there's room now for putting holes so that the screw holes aren't going to obliterate any of the text, but the entire mile marker sign fits on the back side of the sign, so the height of it covers the entire square.
Great.
So we're getting 21 of those, which obviously doesn't cover every single mile marker sign. And then we're getting 2 sets of 11 different road signs for 22 signs, because we need Pinckney Road, Weber Road, Route 13, Route 38, so it's because we added the roads along the Shug Trail.
Right.
And I thought we had ordered Pinckney Road, but I guess if Rick Young doesn't have them, then we don't have them, because I think Bob would have given him all the signs that we ordered.
Okay, yeah, I haven't heard from Gwen, so I don't know what was in at Bob's shop.
So, I mean, if we already have Pinckney signs, maybe we can sell them. Don't steal our signs, you can buy one from us. So that came out to be 18 times $16 and 43 times $13. Ignore my email, it's supposed to be 13, I wrote 16. But I did the math right, for 976. I did not order the stop signs because this is one of those things that once I get into work, I totally forget everything I have to do with non-work. And I don't know if there's somebody that might be able to do that over the next day or so. I included this, it's a sewer company called Foss Signs.
Oh, I could pick up on that.
They're called their trail signs, model 421 ST. They come in 2 gauges. This is all in the email.
Can you do, it's in the email,
In the email.
yeah, yeah.
One is 647 for a smaller gauge and one is 846 for a larger gauge, but I think we got the larger one because it just felt they were a thicker sign.
Good.
And I think we did 12-inch. If I'm not mistaken. I mean, it might be good to, before we go, measure one of the ones out there.
Yeah.
And they have them in stock. This is the company up in Syracuse. They have them in stock, Manlius, sorry. So it's not something that they have to make special for us.
Great. Okay.
And if 976 is approved for the signs, then I'll just write to contact my shoemaker tonight when I get home and say, yeah, go ahead, print. Oh, and they're going to drill holes, 2 holes in each one.
Yes.
Around the corners.
Good. Rounded corners and drill holes are good for the
Yes.
signs. Thank you, Diane, for all that work to put that.
I apologize it has taken so long. It's been a very crazy year.
When it gets there, it'll get it there. It'll be great. We'll get them to Rick Young and they'll get back up again. Yeah, that's great. And I'll check your email for the specs for the order.
And I think this pretty much covers all trail information signs. At some point, we might want to order more of these etiquette signs to just put on more of the trail once we get it all marked. But I think we have all the road crossings now, unless maybe 36, we might need 366
When the time comes,
per
yeah,
road, but we're very.
yeah, good.
I don't remember if we have Hall Woods Road in the order or not.
We do, I added it.
Okay, great.
Good. Yeah, that's great. I was riding my e-bike on the Shug section and I was noticing the carry in and carry out signs that are posted at various places at Purvis Road and coming in. So definitely it's the precedent on the trail from the Shug section, which was the first one that was opened, is that carry in and carry out, and that means carry out poop bags too. But
Yeah.
people, I already saw that people are not necessarily.
So that may be an etiquette sign that we haven't made, but we might want to make more of.
Yeah,
And I also think once we get these up, we might think about which are the most important ones that we need to have more frequently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Just want to say, just for general information, that I just spent a week in Toronto, which is a very dog-heavy city. And I did not see one single bit of poop. And I was on the streets walking for
Wow.
a solid week.
Wow.
And
And
no
Toronto.
abandoned poop bags on the side of the street either?
No abandoned poop bags.
They're better brought up.
What's that?
Poop receptacles, they
Didn't see so many, no.
Canada. It's cleaner.
they're better brought up, they're
So-
community minded.
They were better.
Your comment made me think of something, that we have a poop bag dispenser on the trail, because we walk out to the trail to check out this.
Yeah, those
this
are
run.
great.
And we didn't notice, we noticed that there were no poop bags in it.
Oh,
So who
Oh.
Yeah.
in charge of maintaining that?
If it's in Freeville, it's Stephanie Goddard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you keep like keep up with it permanently.
I think that she was. It was-
I haven't run into her and I haven't like sent her a message or anything and after, because yeah, it was like. A couple weeks ago that I noticed that at least the one near the Freeville DPW, that it's been empty for a while. For a while, which one was it? Spring House, one of the other ones, somebody had a big trash bag hung there instead, and then somebody collected it. Or it flew away, I don't know.
Oh, ugh. Okay, I'll check in with Stephanie to see what.
Yeah, I've been riding them a lot. I thought they were billed more than they usually were. Yeah, I've been riding it last 2 or 3 weeks, not checking each one, just when I needed, let me put one of these in my pocket here.
Yeah.
On George Road especially, that's been full.
That's been full. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I think that's the DPW guys that are doing the ones that are not in the village.
And
So,
yeah, it does look like your stop signs are 12 inches
Oh, good.
from June 17th, last time I measured.
Okay.
thank you, Jim.
The other thing I wanted to mention is we took your little surrounds.
Yes.
And it worked fine on one, but then there were like a couple where it didn't fit.
Huh.
And it
Is it
was,
screws or? Is it bolts? Or-
however, if it was too tightly attached to the post.
I wondered about that.
Then-
Because.
And so I guess one of my questions is how essential are these? Because
They're not essential, but we did get that comment that because they're green, they fade in with the greenery.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to have that reflective, to pop at you.
So Chris looked into some stick-on stuff.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
vinyl leather.
Seeing all of that, I just never trusted to stay. We
What's
should
that?
try it. I never trusted to stay. We should try it though. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're rather inexpensive.
They are very inexpensive.
If it is, I was actually wondering about this, is the interest in having reflectivity during sort of, after hours when a bike is, zipping along with the light,
Right.
that you would see reflection of a sign there. Is that the
Absolutely.
objective? Okay.
Yeah.
Because there are various sizes, even the littlest, 1/4 inch ones that you can
Mhm.
get that
Yeah.
people put on golf balls to.
We should
track.
try them. Just absolutely try them. I don't think they'll last long.
Okay.
I think they'll be gone in 3 months, but that's just my opinion and my understanding what adhesives can and can't do.
Yeah.
So,
Ah.
The back of the etiquette signs. Bare metal,
Right.
shiny, so like that sort of solves the problem.
I think that is sort of, but it may also adhere better to unpainted surface.
Right, right.
yeah.
But like if it's on the
That's
back
why I
of the mileage marker, those ones don't need a reflective material.
Right.
At least from the opposite direction, you'll see it. The green backlit against the bare metal.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so we can,
Yeah.
they were really inexpensive to order, like
Yeah.
$10,
Yeah,
like for
yeah.
50 of them.
Easy,
So we
easy to
can-
try, yeah.
That'd be a fun work
Yeah.
project.
Yeah,
I was
I'll
just
look
thinking
into that.
of the amount of labor you would have to do making 15 miles of sign times 4 signs per mile times 2.
That with the laser cutter is
Oh, okay.
laser cutter. Yeah, but I'm not talking the little laser cutters you see. I'm talking a laser cutter the size of this table.
Wow,
So,
cool.
yeah, it's not a problem.
But then there's also each one has to be adjusted.
Yes, it sounds like it, yeah, so.
Because they're
Yeah, Todd.
inconsistency in how they
They're
are
not being
tightened.
terrible.
So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry to interrupt. Just knowing the time, and also kind of our structure, just a reminder for folks on our structure of committees, a lot of the kind of small details can be worked out in internal committee meetings between our task force meetings so that we can get through our agenda in a timely way.
Okay, good, thank you. Well, let's, with that reminder, let's move on to Trail Stewards and Volunteers Committee. Now, Tony and Steve are not with us today, but Sue, Chip, and I met, and Steve joined us. Do you want to talk about what we worked on? Would you be?
Sure, just real quick, we talked about kind of eliminating, at first we were talking about what's the difference between a volunteer and a steward. And we decided to sort of eliminate the volunteer role to simplify and just have stewards, but we could also have occasional projects. If a particular project comes up, then we could put that out to the stewards list and say, do you have anybody that would be willing to work on this project, even if it's not within their particular area? We have like a master list of stewards that we communicate with. We talked about having orientation meetings. So when we send out the invitation to people, if they want to be a steward, and then when they respond, we can have people come to an orientation meeting that's in-house or in person. And I'm happy to attend those, run those, and just talk to people about what are their interests, what are the areas they're interested in, and get a feel for a little bit what they're willing to do, what they're wanting to do. And then we can we talked about it a little bit, a work in progress of sorting out what they can do or can't do. We can't have people come in and cut lots of vegetation and plant their own, so we want to, but we have the guidelines that we've worked on before in the committee, just regularly walking or biking your section of the trail, sharing your enjoyment of the trail with others, and talk about what that means, whether it's in person, on the trail, in your neighborhood, whether it's in social media. Tell us about trail conditions or problems, and then we can talk about how we want to respond to that. We talked about if people want to go a little bit further out, if people are happy to pick up dog poop, go ahead and let them pick up dog poop. We're not going to require anybody to do that to be a steward. But we want to and we want to have some communication, and then if people want to come and gather together as stewards and get to know each other, we can do that, or we can just let people do their own thing on their own section. I'm also willing to go out and meet with people on their section and walk it with them to just get an idea of what do they think, what are they experiencing, what are their thoughts, their questions, their concerns, their ideas. And then I could bring that back to you, or if anybody else wants to do that, we can bring that back here and share if there's anything that we want to decide as a group and not as individuals. Because we want to have some continuity between the different sections, and we want to keep people kind of in line with what we want the trail to be. But we can maybe we talked about maybe we can support DPW a little bit. Now there's some projects, like Chip had pointed out in particular, like some of the benches, depending on where they're placed, some of the benches have a lot of weeds growing up around them because it's just hard for DPW to get in there and trim that. And some of the benches are very well trimmed. And so if people want to, do a little weed whacking, but we have to set limits on that.
Yeah.
So we're almost ready to send out the invitation to all those. Yeah, but we didn't want to do it until we just talked a little bit more. So like some of the additional projects in it, so there'd be like steward duties, and then an additional project might be Marion's project, or assembling a bench maybe that needs to be installed. I wrote down, I don't remember why, but I wrote down in Freeville forsythia planting.
Oh, there was a forsythia planting that happened 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
It was done by volunteers, but that's an example of kind of a pop-up volunteer activity where a bunch of people came in and helped with a specific planting.
To create screening which is-
Okay.
Turned out quite nicely.
Yes, yeah,
Cool.
it's okay.
Cool.
Good, thank you, that's great, Sue.
Sure.
That was a good meeting. We had a really good session. We missed having you two guys there, but it was a super busy time for you.
Do you have the Facebook graphic that we made? Like
Oh,
to announce it.
The announcement.
The
graphic,
announcement, yeah.
I don't have it, no.
Okay. You need to-
Okay, yeah, I think we're,
I have a question. So how does this work with, like, the guy that came to us at the Dryden Dairy Days and wanted to volunteer?
Right.
This group, how does this work with that? Would they all become trail stewards?
So I,
that's the next item.
well, I'm chuckling because like ongoing communication issues with him. I sent him an email.
Yeah.
When he gave us his email, I sent him an email a few weeks ago and said, hey, I just wanted to get back to you. What do you want to do? Do you want me to come out? Do you want me to answer questions? And I haven't heard back.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if I got his email address wrong, although it didn't come back undeliverable, but, or maybe he's just busy and they don't want to do it right now. I don't know. That was Ivan.
But just generally.
But in general, like we were gonna invite him, make sure that people like that are invited to be stewards.
Okay.
We did talk about, we don't wanna send anybody away.
Mhm.
And we talked about adding stewards for the Jim Shrug sections, so we added in, and Tony added in the different sections along the trail. We kind of tried to measure that out. So that the divisions made sense and they were about equal to the other sections and the other parts of the trail. And that if we have a whole bunch of people that want to be stewards, maybe they can do that as a group, because maybe one person loves to walk it in the morning and a different person walks it in the evening, and different people, and then they can be connected, we're all on this. Everybody that's Game Farm to Stevenson that's interested, you can all be interested and talk to each other. And again, I'm happy to facilitate communication or turf wars. Please, not a lot of turf wars,
Make
but
peace prevail.
yeah, make peace prevail, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
Chip, do you want to add anything from our meeting?
Yeah, I mean, that about covered it. I think like we did discuss whether it was an individual as a steward or also if it was an established group that came forward and then they wanted to be stewards, and then they would self-manage within their group as far as like, hey, I'm gonna walk it on Mondays and I'll walk it on Tuesdays or
Yeah.
whatever that may be.
But we do, it's a good point.
Yeah.
We wanted to have a point person. We want to know.
Right.
As many people, I don't want to turn anybody away. We'd be so lucky if we had more than we needed. But we do need to designate one point person for each section.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, thank you. That felt like a really good productive meeting that we had together. Any other questions about trail stewards? When should we send out the invitation?
That's a great question.
Yeah. Are you guys ready to?
When, I mean,
I should
when
like
I
Steve.
figure out, the format of how we want to actually.
Final
the
wording.
Final wording, then we make it happen and just push it out.
Why don't we talk about that on an email and send it out? I think if we just keep it simple,
Yep.
since we're kind of
Yeah.
figuring out what all the rules
Right.
will be in the
Exactly.
nuances, we'll just keep it
Yeah.
simple. And we already had, I think, kind of a draft of a pretty simple, and we'll just send it out, and as people respond, then we'll refine it.
Great,
Perfect.
perfect, good. Okay, let's go on to the Trail Amenities Committee, and let's start. I put Judy down because you've sort of been an oversight person. But the first item is the mini forest, and Marion is here too. So whoever wants to start with that, go ahead, please.
I sort of prepared a little thing if you want me to go.
Yeah.
So on July 1st, Alice and Marion and I went on a reconnaissance mission on the part of the trail that we're considering installing a vegetative buffer on, which was required by the initial easement grantor. Heidelberg concrete facility is right there now. In fact, there were lots of trucks going in and out, and it was obvious that it was an industrial site. So we wanted to see what was there as plants, and also see where it was that, or where it is that we want, you know, we're considering doing this. So Marion brought a huge, tape measure, and we measured from Pinckney Road to where we thought it should start, about 211 feet in. And we, went along as far as we thought, would be a good section to convert. I think it's going to be more of a shrub, you know, shrub and meadow buffer with some evergreen trees, probably cedars along the top, more than an actual mini forest. It's quite a successful shrub and meadow area now. We found 20 in the area we're considering. We found 10 native species and 21 non-natives. And then at the head of the trail, there were 25 non-natives and 25 non-natives and 20 natives. So there was really a good, and Marion cataloged them all and put them in a spreadsheet. Very official.
Organize the plan.
You organize the plan, so we really know what's, you know, we need some. We're not sure of all of them, but among us and our phones, we pretty much we got really excited about how many were actually thriving there. And it's, you know, when you look closely, it was quite beautiful, you know, that some non-natives will probably stay there. We don't need to replace everything. And Alice took soil samples and sent them to Dairy One for analysis. It seemed to be pretty gravelly or clayey, right? Both.
Yeah, mostly gravelly and very pervious, sandy, sand
Yeah.
and gravel.
We saw some dead red cedars at the head of the trail, and maybe they had not been watered. So we now, thanks to Alice, have the offer of help from the city of Ithaca forester, Jean Grace.
Thanks to Todd, actually.
Thanks to Todd. Thank you, Todd.
Made that recruitment, and
Is he still there? Thanks, Todd. So, yeah, she can advise, you know, we need somebody who really knows what will survive there. So I think our next steps, which is one of the things you wanted to discuss, would be to research a list of possible plants and numbers of each for particular spots if we really want to take out the non-natives. We didn't see that much honeysuckle in that spot. In other spots, there's tons of honeysuckle, you know, where stewards might say, you know, I want to replace this with a real mini forest, but this was, there were a lot of non-native flowering plants, but not honeysuckle very much.
or multiflora rose.
Or multiflora rose.
We were, the particular 200 feet or so that we're looking at is pretty clear. But also it's devoid of screening.
It is.
And it's a prime viewing place for the concrete factory operation. So it'll be good. It serves the purpose well, I think, to do this project here.
And you know, an evergreen that would survive. And that's probably something that, I mean, because if you just put it, the aspens were doing okay. And they would, you know, travel underground and make a colony, but in the winter they lose their leaves.
Right.
And they're beautiful, you know, when they're yellow in the fall, they're gorgeous, but they wouldn't screen in the winter.
So the eastern red cedar was what we were advised.
So
we
really need to decide how much of it we need to replace. I think we should focus on the actual barrier first, the eastern red cedar, and see if that's a possibility, but we need the advice of somebody who knows how they will survive.
Great.
So, research the list of possible plants and numbers of each for particular spots. That would be the eastern red cedars first in that area, and decide who to order from, work with in obtaining the plants, and order probably bare root plants. Just to be able to handle them. Receive and care for the plants, plan the space and the personnel to do this. Solicit volunteers to do planting. I have had an offer from somebody that's working with me in my garden. She's an IC student in environmental science, and she brought it up. She said she'd love to get her friends together and help.
Wow, that's great.
So, there's that, and then solicit volunteers, yes, and get machines and tools lined up. I don't know how much digging is going to be involved. I can't go on top of that berm and dig holes very well at my age. Prepare the planting sites, and do we need soil amendments?
Yeah, I think we
These are all
will.
just, and then plant. So these are all things we have to talk about.
Yeah, and fall is, I think fall is a good time for the kind of planting that we're talking about.
We're not
so-
gonna get it done this fall.
Okay,
I wouldn't say that we could do all that this fall.
yeah, not to mention we.
Maybe you get
we
the
don't have
plants in the
fundraising,
spring, huh?
yeah. We don't have funds yet, so that's a good
Exactly,
point.
who's gonna
Judy.
pay for this? So, and people's work is kind of cut out for, I mean, don't you think that ordering them in the spring,
And planting them.
that's when you get, yeah. I
Okay,
mean, they would probably need to be planted, berm, what do you call it, healed in somewhere and tended during the summer, which is usually how it's done, I think.
okay,
If you get bare roots, you have to you have to kind of. And if they're not bare roots, how many trees we could then probably plant them in the spring.
yeah. And we'll have we'll have the city forester.
Yeah, it depends how many, is it 20 or is it 100?
Yeah,
And if it's 20, we might be able to afford burlap bags, well bagged, and then just put them in.
good, good. So we'll keep meeting, this group will keep on meeting and, to be continued. That's great. Thank you.
And as far as, do you want me to go on about the benches? Go on and
Yes.
on about the
Yeah.
benches? Todd says that, he wrote and said that, Rick will lay out where the two Levine benches, which are the ones on the horizon, will go, and then have Linda and me check where he's planned. I'm not sure about whether it has been approved to have one in the game farm area between Game Farm and Stevenson. We had to talk to DEC.
Good.
And I think that Dan is the person who could talk to you have a contact at DEC, right?
Yes, in fact, the regional director was just in town this month and
Oh, sorry, I thought, yeah, I wasn't clear about, needing some approval for whether the DEC will allow us to put a bench on that stretch.
oh, well, let's look at the MOU and see if we need a special provision there. I'd have
All
to revisit the language on that.
Okay.
I know we addressed, amenities to a certain extent, but I at the top of my head, I can't remember what we're allowed to do.
That's
Yeah, and
prob-
if it goes, if it is in the MOU, what would be helpful for that one? Evan Wills is the manager at the site. And having a photo of the spot
Okay, okay, good.
and a GPS point on a map would
Yeah.
help facilitate
Yeah.
that conversation.
Okay, good. I haven't gotten out there yet with Linda. So, yeah, she's got a grandson. So, I will do that. soon. And, the only other thing is, that probably in Bob's files, there is some understanding of what should go on a plat, what the parameters are on a plat.
Okay,
I don't know how many words, how much space. I mean, I'm sort of taking this over. You did it all.
let's talk offline about that.
Okay, good.
Judy, because,
That's fine.
the people that we worked with on the last plaque, I didn't, we're not really that reliable, so we may be looking for a new plaque
Okay.
maker. I have to research that.
Okay, good. We'll
Good.
talk about it on offline. I think that's all I need to say.
Okay, great. I see that, Todd,
Yeah, just one thing on benches quickly. DPW has 2
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
half.
Yeah. That's
So-
not useful.
So yeah, the half part isn't useful. So at what point in time we either want to invest in another round of benches, or we will want to wait until we have another donor. That's something to discuss about when we go ahead and acquire the next ones that come after Levine's.
Okay. And they're relatively cheap. Do we want to keep them at $800 in this years of inflation? Or, are people willing to?
we can
Hey,
talk
Laura.
about that as a policy issue. For all the ones that we've arranged so far, of course, it stays $800, but that's a good point, Judy. We could revisit that question. Good, and it's good to know there are 2 benches left, so those 2, because we actually have arts, benches.
Does that include arts bench?
Is that, do you happen to know if those, it's just 2 benches that are there, and we have 3 requests. bench
Oh.
placements.
That's right.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So it's 3 frames and the seat and back material for 2.5. So if that's the case, we don't have enough to complete 3 benches currently.
Maybe we could do, okay, so that gives us the quick incentive to look up who that, vendor was out in Indiana.
I might have it in one of my emails somewhere.
I think I've got it in
Got it
Bob's
too.
files too, but I'm gonna get in touch with you. I can't find it. Thank you. Yeah, so that's a good incentive for us to move forward to get more benches. Good. Yeah, and so you've gone ahead and met with,
What would I be looking for? I Googled rows, but I don't.
Benches.
I'm just also asking, if do you know the
Nothing comes
place
up on the
and
road.
I know the place and getting together with Chris this week.
Okay,
And exactly. that's why.
good, okay. So what I'm thinking is maybe we do, one for the Levines and one for Art. And then we get, and then we place an order in for the second one. Does that sound fair? So that we use the 2?
Okay, sure. So one for Art and one for Buzz on the
Buzz.
Lake, and then Linda can get her second one.
And and I'll get
That's
right
fine.
on it to find an order.
Fine.
Good, okay.
Okay, so
So I sent Judy an email.
I don't see it.
Rose?
Maybe-
We can
Anyway.
work on the details.
Yeah, it was
Under-
just concerning the accounting end of things. Because I had a couple of people, the former mayor of Freeville, I met him at the NSF spot meeting. Art opening, and he had mentioned that he and a couple of people in town have donated to the bench. And I had never heard about that. And so I was wondering, there were at least David Fogel, the mayor, former mayor of Freeville, donated, but he said plural, so there were probably other people. And I don't know if, I had never heard of that. So, I mean, I wasn't able to thank anybody I left. So I think we need to have a procedure for that kind of
Be
funding
amazing.
coming in, like to notify somebody who can run the thing.
Okay, they all got thanked, personally. I mean, there's a letter that goes out. that Cassie, Burns sends out on behalf of the town saying thank you. But this is the next step, which is
This is-
notifying the person that is responsible for putting the memorial bench in so that you know.
Yeah.
So I'll write to Cassie and ask her for a list of
Yeah.
donors to both of those.
Yeah, because Bob would have known about. They probably came in,
I get copied on most of the letters, but I did not get copied on all those.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how much is, what is out there. Maybe it's just 1 or 2 people, but
Okay.
I would like to know.
I got copied on David.
yeah,
Quayle's.
I mean, this is partly why we needed a protocol and we were trying to set up a protocol.
Right, yeah. Let me check back in with
And-
Cassie about. Good.
There's no way, I assumed that, if there was a donation, that the task force would be notified, but they may think that, we already know.
Yeah, okay. Let me check with that. I've got a note to ask.
So Rosalie, I missed this.
It may be that I've received all of them and I haven't filled it. Okay. All right, I see that Ray has joined us. Thank you, Ray. That I was gonna text you, but I'm glad that you're with us. I'm just gonna let folks know that are with us that we're moving into executive session now. I think that we need to actually vote.
Actually, before we vote, I would like to motion to invite specific guests
Oh,
to
okay,
join us in executive. session.
okay.
So there was one more item on the agenda.
Yeah. it is.
Yeah.
There was one more agenda item.
There's one more, open for next meeting.
No, the bathrooms.
Oh, South Hill Recway, two real quick announcements. Is that what you're talking about?
No, the request for the bathrooms.
Freeville bathroom.
That's what I
It's
said.
only mentioning things, but I don't know anything about it, so I forgot to introduce it. Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Well, that's because I asked Alice to put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and in the interest of time, we can table the discussion for another meeting, but the owner of Toad's Ice Cream in Freeville, I was chatting with her a couple weeks ago and thanking her for for allowing the extra easement across the back of the property to be able to get to the parking area by the village hall. And she said, "It's great. I love the trail. If you can afford a $3 million bridge, you can afford to put bathrooms in Freeville, because I'm getting tired of people coming and asking because she doesn't have facilities there." So we had the Runners Club donate Porta-John in the past.
Yeah,
And so that was one short-term option while we explore long-term options, or if we just find funds somewhere that the town has or from donations, if the Runners Club isn't willing to do it, that we basically try to help solve that. And the logical space would be at the village hall by the kiosk area, trailhead. But obviously that requires some work with the village to see what they would be willing to do. So it's more than we have time to discuss, but I just kind of put out there the issue, the need, and maybe some of us can work on this offline.
good. Yeah, and I volunteered to contact Adam Hanks from the Finger Lakes Runners Club to see if they would be interested in working with some sponsoring the porta potty. For those in the village of Freeville, they had one for a while, but it was not so close to the kiosk, right? It was over on the other side of the.
I think the kiosk is like right in front of the village hall and office. Now, I personally don't think it's a good place for that.
Right.
It's kind of like
They put it on the road. The Runners Club put it on the road.
going down, like
Going
kind of
down
behind the
Drive,
village
yeah.
office.
Yeah,
That's, I
following
think, a
that
little more
path
private
makes
and
more
sense.
perhaps a better.
That makes more sense than
Yeah.
right there. I mean, the kiosk, there's a big tree there, and right now you have to duck to get under it from the road to that gravel section of trail. And then it's the backyard of Toads too,
Yeah, it
like,
just
so
feels weird.
across there, behind the village, between them and DPW. I know there's like I think it's their well water is back there, so logistically, I'm not sure if that works, but I would say that's a little more private.
It's a little more private.
And it's just a big space they mow otherwise.
Yeah,
And
okay,
this was actually tucked in, if you're walking down DPW, it was on the left, so it was almost like in the woods.
Oh, like once you got on DPW, not on that section.
Right, so it
Okay.
felt, as a user of it, it felt a little more private.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It needs to be someplace where it can be serviced too, you
Yeah.
gotta have the truck
Right.
come in
Yeah.
and say,
yeah, that was a good spot.
It almost sounds like she's also kind of suggesting or asking that a porta potty be put in near her.
Right.
Her own
Yeah.
property.
anywhere close.
I mean,
anywhere
people
that
do-
I'd be happy to. She'd be able
People
to
visiting
Go down
Just
there.
right there.
Yeah, people visiting Toads, Overflow Park, on the road.
Yeah.
In the village hall parking lot,
Right.
and on DPW,
Really?
right up against the no motor vehicles allowed signs.
Okay.
So there's lots of times where I walk there and I'm like, well, there's 5 vehicles here.
Okay, so we have to,
Yeah.
this is a to be continued,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
let's find out.
Maybe
if
it would
somebody
be a
likes to run into
favor. A favor to Toads have it right near them, they should be asked.
Yeah.
If they don't have
All we need,
facilities.
I mean, I think the Toast folks just need to be direct people to the point.
Behind stations.
Good, okay,
Probably would be a good question for, in the village. At Brennan.
yeah, and Pat, Brennan's asking. too. Good, okay, let me, just move us on. We're about 15 minutes past where, we're gonna go into executive session, and I wanna, have to have midnight brunch here for, so. Let's move on, and, Chris, you wanted to invite some people to stay.
I wanted to motion to invite specific guests.
Okay,
If there was somebody that might be willing to second the motion to invite specific guests, and then we go into.
anybody second a motion to invite specific guests? Thank you. Okay. All in favor of, inviting specific guests?
And then, I would like to, motion to, is that, right?
Invite,
Motion to
yes.
invite Chip to stay on through executive session.
Sure.
Great, do I hear a second? Second, good, all in favor? Good, thank you, you're invited,
Cool.
stick with us here, Jeff, thank
There you
you.
go. Now I want to say.
Great, thank you for joining us, Todd is still with us, but may not be able to stay for the whole time. What I'd like to do, is, oh, wait,
Now we can.
Now we can vote
adjourn
to-
public, we have to,
now we're
actually, we have to-
done the meeting.
hang on, we have to announce the, confirm the next meeting date during public session. And then we have to motion to adjourn public session to go enter into executive session.
Great, okay, so.
You sure you wanna stay?
I would like to
I got headlights.
confirm that our next meeting will be
Yeah.
at 7 p.m. on Monday, August 18th. We're always the third Monday of the month. And I'd like to have a motion to adjourn this meeting. Susan moves, Rose seconds, all in favor of adjourning. Thank you. Great. So adjournment is at 8:37. We are adjourning for the purpose of going into executive session to talk about land acquisition.
Do we have to actually
We motioned
motion to go into
executive
executive session
and announce
before?
to all the other people that we've kicked out of the room that the only thing we're going to do when we come back out of executive session is adjourn.
Okay, and the only action we'll take.
I'm sorry.
We go into executive
Sorry.
session.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
That comes last. Adjourning is after.
So everybody,
It's
we're
after.
going to
I
go
got
to executive session, and then after that, all we're gonna do when we get back is during the meeting, so all of you people sitting around, you can leave now.
Oh, they did.
So let's vote to go into an executive session, all in favor. Good, and Ignore that
Ignore that.
adjournment
Ignore
motion,
the
we'll
exactly.
adjourn when we're done. Okay, good. Thank you, Ray. And thank you, Todd, for sticking with us.
So
What,
with all that legalese, this is or was being recorded as the previous session?
Right,
That's
that's it. We're stopping the
Okay.
recording. Thank you.
thank you. Now,
Make sure.
The record.
Yeah.
now I didn't stop the recording yet.
Happened to the executive session.
Save and executive.
Nobody listening to the.
Right, and that's